Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are waiting for the guest judges, and also we have a faculty judge who is from the department. So we will get started as soon as they are here. We'll probably expect 5 to 10 minutes from now. Thank you. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome, welcome. I can see our third judge here, so we shall start. Um, First of all, I would like to welcome you all. Big special welcome to the friends, family of our final year students. Thank you for coming here to encourage your family or friends. It really means a lot to them, and it means a lot to us in the department that you are here to share this last presentation after 3-4 years of really hard work. This is kind of a showcase of what they've been learning for the last 4 years, and I know that they've been working so hard this semester on this, so hard. And so I wanted to not take too much time, just to say welcome you from the Media Communication Department. My name is Dr. Suhail Dahdal. I'm the head of the Media Communication Department. And also, I happen to be the professor teaching them this semester. So I'm very proud both ways. I am sure that you will all be amazed about how much dedication and how much creativity there is in this work that you will see in the next 90 minutes. We have 3 teams. Each team will be presenting, and they have instructions that they have strict 12 minutes. They will be informed when they reach the 10 minutes that there's two more minutes. And then we will have a Q&A, so for our judges, and this gives me the chance to welcome our judges. We have Joe Lipscomb from, he's a partner at the Romans. Okay. And I'll try to get your name right. So we have Cassandra Panagiotopoulos. Yes, I got it right. Head of strategies from the Romans, and also a big thank you for the Romans for their support and giving the students a real client project to work on. This is part of the ethos of this capstone project, is that they're working on a real project. And so what you see here is actually a response to an actual client brief that they had to work hard through the semester to present this 12-minute pitch that you will see today. And I also would like to welcome our faculty reviewer, Dr. Bentley Brown, who has kindly agreed to also review and be a kind of harsh judge. Depends. Harsh judge. So I don't want to, I know that you are so keen to come and present. So we start with Team 1, Team Qudra. Come on.
Let's go, BT, let's go.
You get the mic.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Whether you're here because you have a passion for media, or you just came back from traveling to judge and have to travel again in 2 hours, Professor said, our representative from Yalla Esports, we're excited to have you all. We all know what they say, keep the best for last. But today, ladies first. We are here today to present our campaign, Reframe Her Gamer for Yalla Esports. We are Team Qudra, and the word Qudra comes from the Arabic word power, which symbolizes our commitment to deliver a powerful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Abdullah Zar'ouni. A fun fact, no one knew I existed as an MCM student, but here I am. This is Tala, our Dean of Deans. Alia, or as we call her, the twin of Naz. Naz, the twin. Lama, our Pilates coach. Saifuddin, the guy in all my classes. And finally, Maria, our all in all. Now, before diving into our campaign, whether you play using your phone, tablet, or smartwatch, you are considered a gamer. And based on this, Maria here wants to ask everyone in this room a question.
How many of you here today would consider yourselves to be gamers? Please show a raise of hands. Thank you for your response. This goes to show that your identity as a gamer matters, regardless of how you choose to game. Let the games begin.
Now, before we head into our pitch, we have to ask ourselves an important question. What is the global reality of being a female gamer? According to statistics, 80% of female gamers face toxic online harassment, with 73% of them avoiding gaming communities because of said harassment. 67% of them actually leave these communities because of the negative experiences these face. There are more than half the population of gamers worldwide are made up of women. And these statistics go to show the harsh reality of being a female gamer and how we have a serious problem at hand. Now, since we've discussed this problem on a global level, let's learn more about it on a regional level.
Now, through our research, we have discovered that there is a lack of data regarding female gamers. That is why our team took the initiatives to conduct our own survey that has been answered by 290 female gamers in our region, which is quite a large number. Out of them, as you can see, 62.3% of them have claimed that they faced harassment as female gamers, and 48.2% of them actually hid their female gaming identity when they're playing. That shows that we have a problem within our region.
Now, after the research that we have conducted, especially the one in our region, we came to find that we have a large gaming divide at hand, and that women in online competitive gaming are facing frequent harassment, and that gaming is a mainly male-dominated space. Now, we decided to dive a bit deeper into this, and we actually interviewed some female gamers based here in the UAE, and we asked them general questions about their experiences as female gamers, and we came to find that there was one common denominator between them all, and that is
an avatar and a male character. It makes it easier for me to play and fit within, and I never put my mic on so they don't catch me.
To join and play with them, I made a whole male account with the male avatar, name, everything.
Ever since I experienced harassment, I've only joined as a male character because that's the only way I can actually play.
So now we came to find that women in the UAE are actually disguising themselves as male gamers in order to not face the harassment, whether through their usernames or their avatars. And they're feeling that they cannot express themselves and freely, and they feel that they do not have a community that is there to empower nor embrace them.
While we can't fully solve the problem of female harassment in gaming, we strive to create an inclusive community where female gamers feel connected and empowered, thus driving a lasting transformation in the gaming world. Our key concept is to empower women to own their gaming identity, and it's based on this vision. We want to inspire solidarity among women and encourage them to embrace their identities and make female gaming the norm. Through our slogan, Reframe Her Game, we call for change, to drive female gamers out of the shadows, reframe the narrative, and own their gaming identity with confidence.
Now, who are we targeting in this campaign? Female gamers, more specifically a Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Why? We have picked a Gen Z because they are the largest percentage of gamers in our region, and that they have the highest rate of discrimination against them. They as well value inclusivity and empowerment, which are key pillars in our mission. As why we have picked a Gen Alpha. They're the youngest and the rising gaming generation for our region. And they look for a supportive communities. The reason why we have combined those two generations is because we want to empower a Gen Z and shape a Gen Alpha at a young age. We want to build their confidence and help them embrace and own their gaming identity.
No. Our campaign's main objective is to empower female gamers and make gaming an inclusive space. We will do so eventually by tracking the results of this campaign, by which we will be tracking the overall engagements through likes, shares, and feedbacks, in which, in return, we will measure their growing empowerment and visuality through the campaign itself.
Now we will be presenting to you all our digital story, the key part of our campaign. This story explores the critical issue that women face in gaming, but most importantly, it revolves around our core idea, empowering women to own their identity and not hide who they are. This digital story is designed to raise awareness and inspire action.
Now we'll be discussing the social marketing strategies of our digital campaign that will be conducted after this digital story. After the digital story you've all seen, we'll be creating it in other formats across two important platforms, YouTube and Instagram. On YouTube, we'll be creating 3 different versions of 5-second unskippable ads. On an Instagram, we will be creating 2 versions of 10-second sponsored ads. All content will be released through Yalla Campus Arabia's YouTube and Instagram accounts. And now, we will watch a teaser of how the unskippable ads would look like.
Thank you. Okay, now after the digital story that you have just seen, we're going to explore some of the guerrilla marketing strategies that we'll be doing for our campaign. The first one would actually be conducted before the release of the digital story, serving as a teaser for the campaign, and that would be a mystery QR code. There would be different versions of it, as you can see, and they'd be strategically placed in PC internet gaming cafes to target our gamer audience. Once scanned, this would take you to a teaser of the digital story before the release, as I mentioned, and it would then display the information of where this will be released, the platform, the time, and so on. You can actually experience this yourself right now, and you could scan the QR code that we have on the screen or on the back of the brochures that have been passed out to you. Moving on, another marketing strategy that we will explore is having ambassadors and faces behind our campaign. Now, we didn't want to follow a traditional route of having one face of this campaign, but rather 3, who are actually gaming pioneers here in the UAE. And first one of them is Ashia Fargat, who's actually an esports teacher, an MC host, and a streamer here in the UAE. Second one is Madiha Naz, who is an esports athlete and the UAE's first female pro gamer, who's been listed under Forbes Middle East 30 under 30. Then we have Amna Al-Amiri, who is the first Emirati female pro esports player. And how are we going to be using these women to be the faces of our campaign? This is what we'll be exploring now. Arshia Faragad has a really large following on Twitch with over 9K followers. We would be using her to do a launch of the digital story, a live stream specifically on Twitch, in which this targets our audience really well, our gaming audience, especially Gen Z, Gen Alpha. She would host the event and it would spread the message of our campaign. Second strategy is introducing a social media series on the Yalla Campus Arabia's Instagram platform, in which we would share the stories of these ambassadors, specifically one episode, let's say a month, representing the story of each ambassador. And why is this going to be important? Because these ladies themselves have faced harassment. We've actually contacted them and they've agreed to be representatives for this campaign if it took place. Specifically, we would like to highlight Amina Al-Amiri, who I mentioned earlier, who actually has faced harassment herself, which led her from hiding herself and now only produces her gaming content without a face. And we think that that goes really well with our message. And doing this, we could spread the campaign further with Reframe Her Game hashtags, Yalla Gamer, and so on. Now, another thing we'd like to explore as Team Qudra is spreading this campaign as not just a campaign, but as a movement that goes beyond gaming and can enter the social media world and target our audiences, and that is podcasts. Taking these women and putting them on a Reframe Her Game episode on a very emerging new podcaster based here in the UAE called Cash Believes Podcast. You may have heard of him or you may have not. This goes really well with our target audience, as this is a rising platform for the Gen Z and Gen Alpha nowadays. Podcasts are quite famous. And this could also move to spread our campaign. They could promote the said campaign, the movement, and have stories empowering women to women, one-on-one. And finally, we think that all of these marketing strategies are perfectly made and tailored to this campaign, as we want to, and I repeat, emphasize that this is not just a social media campaign, that this is not just about promoting, including women and inclusivity. It's about creating a community. It's about making a movement that spans beyond the gaming world and spreads across us all.
After everything we have discussed in our presentation today, we now know what the problem is. Women hide their identity behind male personas to avoid harassment. This is not a small issue. It's a deeper concern in gaming culture where women's contributions are often overlooked. This isn't just a campaign. It's a call to action for every gamer, developer, and person who values inclusivity and fairness. We're here to rewrite the narrative. This isn't just about gaming. It's a cultural shift that echoes far beyond our screen, and we at Team Qudra promise to create a movement that reframes her game. Thank you.
Testing, okay, works. Hello, thank you very much. That was very insightful, very well done. It's lovely to see the development and how far you've come after we initially spoke. I think that's a nice key point to start off on. Congratulations for making it and for presenting so well. A couple of points, I think for me, what stood out and what was a really important thing that I know we discussed before was the insights. The fact that you went and did the qualitative and the quantitative research and actually went and tapped into, you know, the local tension was really great. And I think that, you know, going and speaking to people as well as having those empirical kind of numbers was a great way to sort of segue. Production of your digital asset was fantastic. I think I would have liked to see a bit more of a kind of the narrative and the tension come through in that, but overall great. And then I think key point was that you turned it into that community, into that conversation, which is obviously the crucial part. The asset itself will take you so far, but creating that community and having that conversation is really, really crucial. For the ambassadors, I think you mentioned as well that you got in touch with them, which was another nice aspect. I'm just curious to sort of know what kind of conversations you had with them to actually deduce, you know, that they had been targeted and what they sort of said that they were doing. Because I'm just interested to know if there is a community that exists already and that is aware of this problem and sort of what they're doing.
Actually, funny story, the reason I chose these three is because I had initially ran into one accidentally in a cafe. in the mall when I had already had her on my list on my phone the day of, choosing that I will contact her on DM, and she was sitting across me in the cafe, and I was like, this is fate. I talked to her and told her about our campaign and that I was aware that she was a female gamer, and this was Madiha Naz. And then I don't know how, she told me that I'm actually coming on a panel in AUS, and that she happened to know a girl, I may not know her full name, but her name is Dima. Yeah, she is also a gamer herself and based here in our university. They all led me through a conversation where they all had their own group chats and gaming chats, and they all had their own little community where each one of these ambassadors actually knew each other, and they were friends, and then they all hopped on board to talk to me and get into the campaign. And then once I spoke with them, I shared with them our insights and whatever, and I'm very serious. In less than 5 seconds, Madiha Naz had sent me screenshots and videos and screen recordings of all the harassment that she had faced. And then Arshia Faragat had sent me that she's also she's a mom. So she's not just like a gamer, she's a gamer mom, and she's an esports teacher too. So she shared a lot of insights about the upcoming like young girls who she's actually teaching them to become professional esports players to go and compete in the tournaments. So this is something that people nowadays are even considering as a career. And the fact that I found all these ladies through like one girl in a cafe and through a chat goes to show that we do have a community here, but it's kind of small. And maybe not everyone knows them, and no one really is out there to represent them well enough. No, not enough big of voices or faces. And that's why I chose them, because I feel like we could have taken the path of choosing a really big known gamer, streamer, famous influencer, and so on. But we wanted to do the real women with the real stories here, and the ones that could actually, you know, communicate on a good level.
Can I ask one more question? Sorry. The last question I have, last kind of common question, and maybe the tricky one, is obviously you've got a really strong position in creative community here, but how do you anticipate, I mean, if there is so much vitriol and so much backlash and so much bullying, what essentially is the crux of getting women? What's the motivation to get them to actually become part of something like this, to unmask, to change their names? I mean, surely that stigmatism and that fear is, you know, what's stopping them. And, you know, how do you sort of anticipate that your conversation and your community will be able to do that?
Well, I think it'll be baby steps initially, but just we have to start with something. And I think just pushing this message of women standing up for each other will help, you know, propel this in the right direction and help with the problems that they face. Because I think that even as like women, someone hyping you up, especially if it's a female, helps so much. And I think that will help create a bond that will help push women to, you know, face this in some way. Eventually, like this is, we can't say that it's gonna work like in the next week or something, but we feel like this is a movement, as Tala mentioned, that we see, you know, coming about in the near future, for sure.
Thank you.
Well, firstly, huge congratulations. It's a packed room. I've done big talks to fewer people, and it's scary. So, huge amount of credit for getting up here first and presenting this. I think good comedic start is underappreciated. It's a huge icebreaker. A lot of clients are very serious. They think they're very important people. They're time strapped, and you walk in the room and they're sitting there saying like, oh, this is an hour long, like, you know, I need to get to lunch, or, you know, the golf course, and you break the ice. So it's very memorable, okay? This guy behind me, yeah? But I think what you did is balanced, from a presentation perspective as a whole, you balanced the seriousness of the topic with a bit of light humor very well, because sometimes you can take a serious topic and it's very heavy, okay? You made it lighthearted, but you didn't take it too far to make it feel like you were laughing at it. It was very well done. So from an overarching perspective of performance, good job, right? Now, I'm kidding. I want to touch on Cass's last question, but just ask it from a slightly different angle, because it was something I think that stood out most to me as well. there was a red thread from the survey that you did, the research, all the way through to the slogan, all the way through to the visual. That is huge. We talked about that before, so to see that come through is really important because we're ultimately going to remember one thing, right, which is this in its totality. So that was done very well. But I wanted to ask what your thought process was on approaching or making the objective empowering women as opposed to speaking to the culprits, to the perpetrators. The research shows, you know, when women put their faces and names out there, they get harassed. Your campaign is focused on encouraging them to put their names out there again. So I don't want to question that, but what I'm interested in is the decision-making process to approach women and make them your core audience and to negate men in the conversation. What was the thinking behind that?
So initially we had so many approaches to this campaign in the beginning, and we settled on this because we thought no matter, obviously harassment is a huge problem, and it should, in an ideal world, we'd love if it disappeared. But no matter how much we could make of a campaign educating people out there and promising you that we could get rid of harassment, you could never stop the haters. You could never stop the hatred coming towards you. You could never stop maybe the ones that do not, you know, like they will never understand women, they will never appreciate the women, no matter how much we educated the men out there. So and we didn't want to take the approach of saying men are the problem or men are the anti and they're the villain, because that couldn't be the case all the time. Actually, sometimes women hate on women too. You can take that approach very greatly in that direction. So we wanted to go and approach it in a, you know, all the women female empowerment campaigns we see out there, they're all about women are strong, women can be just as equal as men, women can be on the same level. But they never say, you know, we promise harassment's gonna disappear, and once we do female empowerment and encouragement, you're gonna stop being harassed. I'm a feminist myself, and I go around and I keep encouraging myself, and regardless of where I stand, I face harassment from each direction. We took this approach because we thought women in general are not having enough representation in gaming. Because this is a pure fact, there are more men out there that are gaming than women. And especially in our region, it's a very new concept. Having women become professional esports players and all of that. You're breaking a lot of culture stereotypes. Tapping into such a violent field, because, you know, shooter games, things like that, League of Legends, all those type of games. So we want to tell women that you can be who you are and you can be strong and you can put yourself out there and not listen to the haters, not listen to the harassment, and we've got each other and we can do this together, because in the end of the day, they're not going to stop. So that's kind of what we all thought. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
So a slightly more technical question. The channel decision, the channel focus, the first part was all YouTube and Instagram, then you have the Twitch activation, then you have the podcast activation. Can you just give me a little bit of thinking behind the decisions that were made there in terms of the audiences? Why was the digital story focused more on the traditional social channels, and then you had the activation on Twitch? What was the thinking behind that time?
Because in our presentation, as we discussed, our target is women, but we are targeting, as Lama mentioned, Gen Alpha and Gen Z. So for Gen Z, they are the population that are majority of the gamers, and for Gen Alpha, they're the new upcoming gamers. They might not all play on gaming consoles or everything, but they play on their iPads. So our approach was that we begin by showing it on social media. For both generations, everyone uses social media, while everyone may not use Twitch. And it's a starting point, and then with Twitch, all the other people who are gamers will begin to see the campaign, and then it will spread everywhere.
Can I add one more point? And just from this is for the target audience, but just from a marketing strategy, we think it's a unique way that if this was to be a campaign through Yalla Esports, it would be a unique way to market yourselves, because you're multi-platform, multi-channel, and you're reaching wider audience, as we mentioned, just beyond gaming too. So we can make it into a movement, because if it just stayed in the gaming community, maybe it's not gonna create an impact, you know? It's like that. Thank you.
Thanks. And then a few final comments. I think the additional pieces here, this good pitch cheese, leave behind is very important. I'm glad that you considered them. Looks like everyone did, because we're covered and stuff. Good touch. Okay, I like this stuff. I think the legacy content, you answered the questions well. I think that, you know, not a day goes by when someone doesn't stand up and say, we're going to do a podcast, but I think the fact that you found something fresh and upcoming makes that stronger. And you touched on the guerrilla marketing. Again, not a day goes by when I don't see a QR code, but I think you had an idea behind it. So I think you just got over the line with those. Don't be afraid to, I think a little bigger creatively. I think after the digital narrative, which I thought was quite well done, was quite gloomy. It's like my style. I quite like that. It's kind of nice. I think after that, there weren't many big memorable moments. I think the conversation is important, but I think don't be afraid creatively to go a little bit bigger with your ideas and have something that really lands and is really memorable. But I think that the effort you've gone to on all touch points is really, really nicely done. So as a complete campaign, yeah, I'm dying to like sit in a room with you folks and talk about where we can take it and how we can build on it and how we can bring the people in. Definitely, you've got the screenshots of abuse to a pro player. Get those on the screen. Oh my God, they would have been perfect. I'd have opened on that. I'd have been like, this is a pro player's actual abuse. Yeah. Kill a QR code, throw that in. But I think as an overall campaign, almost buyable off the shelf, which is really important. So congratulations.
I find your approach very interesting because usually when we talk about avatars, we're talking about possibility spaces. It's a chance for us to be something that we're not. No avatar is a one-to-one relation to the user or the designer. I'm curious because your sample size, I just saw faces that I recognized from MCM. So I don't know how in depth your qualitative and quantitative research was, but do you have examples of people who maybe prefer to play as a gendered or non-gendered character? Like, why is it important to you that they gender as female?
So basically, through the research we had, a lot of females choose to play using a male character to not be harassed or being bullied through gaming. In addition, it sometimes builds up into being harassed on social media channels in which they will actually keep seeking through their username or email to track them until they reach their phone number or address. So a lot choose to not play using a female character, which is their own identity, for the risk of not being harassed or bullied or even tracked to their own address. So that is for their own safety. That's why we chose on the video, on the storyboard, to display it in a way that she will actually change her username and character in order to empower her to not be scared or worried from any bullying or harassment.
And to add to that, like going back to our survey, as we answered, 290 said that they have claimed that 62.3% of them have faced harassment, and 48.2% they hide their identity. So they don't pick like male characters because they want to. No, there's a there's a bigger issue to that one. That's why we addressed it in that kind of response.
Just last point. I think you were asking more of like why only female gender.
With an avatar, we have unlimited possibilities to create a new identity. Yeah. Why do we regender? Why are we?
Yeah, I understand your point. So actually, it's mostly because if you noticed one of our interviews, they're specifically gendering as male and not another gender is more to fit in the communities, because most of these gaming platforms, they'll have chat boxes and little rooms and things where everyone actually starts to get to know each other the more they're gaming and everything. So they'll know you by your username and all of that. They talk by mic too. One of them turns her mic off. So and we're in kind of a region where we don't have much of the non-gender kind of approach thing. So we did take that approach because they're choosing to be male characters to fit in with those group chats with the other guys and be one of the guys and not face a problem there.
Right. Sorry if I can be allowed one more question really quickly. So I have to ask about video production. Yeah, this is our thing. And I'm watching this video where you have two women characters in sort of like a gaming cafe. And these gaming cafes, one of my friends took me to one at 2 a.m. a couple weekends ago, and I couldn't believe this still existed, number one. It's a flashback from the 2000s. But also, I was hearing the most vulgar insults, everything, right, being thrown out. And when I watch your video, I'm like, oh, sick. There's two women who are supporting each other right here. What about the immense verbal harassment and harassment that's coming at them because of their physical presence in that cafe? So I'm wondering, how did you get this narrative, like, for the video? And do you see like the questions that I'm asking while watching that video, right?
I understand from the aspect, like, obviously you'd think maybe we should have taken the narrative of showing the men and the physical, but we wanted to touch it more on the online, not the real life, because number one, not everyone actually goes to gaming, PC, internet cafes. We decided to do this for the visual aspect. We could have shot it in a way where it was in a house setup, which is the most common, and most people would be in their own private rooms and homes and dealing with this kind of
so why not shoot it in a house?
We felt that it would be an approach everyone would take. So we thought uniquely that visually it would be more beautiful to see on screen if we were in that vibe of the cafe, because the colors as well were naturally like purple and dark without even lighting or editing.
In a cafe, is there stock music playing with little clicks?
No, that's production. Because we didn't do a video with like dialogue and everything. And actually, we're Safe. Safe did a lot of our editing over here, so I think he did a good job with making it lively. Because shooting this kind of stuff, like we had to go to the venue. It was quieter than usual, dealing with the other sounds, and there were still people gaming, and the sounds were not beautiful to hear. So, yeah, but that's what we did. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another round of applause. So, please have a seat. We'll take the next team. You ready? So can I ask everyone to remain, even the families of the first team, so we can all enjoy the other second and third presentation? Because I know even if your team is done, please stay around for the second and third team. Are we ready? Okay. Team Pixels.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our senior campaign. Firstly, we would like to thank Joe and Cassandra for being here. Dr. Sahel, the MCM apartment, Dr. Bentley, our family and our friends. Today we're going to be sharing a very important cause, female gamer harassment, and our client is going to be the Romans, and this pitch is for Yalla Esports.
Okay, allow me to introduce you to our wonderful team. Marwa, Anoud, Rahaf, Abdullah, Jana, Eliazia, myself, Selma, and Kareem, who unfortunately is not with us today due to an urgent matter. However, altogether we are Team Pixels.
The key problem we're addressing today is the persistent issue of toxicity and harassment in online gaming, which is a problem that spans across all generations. Despite the efforts to promote respect and equality, the gaming community continues to struggle with widespread disrespect, bullying, and misogyny. These behaviors not only disrupt the gaming experience, but also create a hostile environment for young girls and women. We're focusing on Gen Alpha boys, because compared to previous generations, they already demonstrate more respect towards women in their everyday lives. However, there's a disconnect when it comes to their online presence. Many Gen Alpha boys engage in or tolerate harmful behavior in gaming spaces, contributing to a toxic cycle, making online environments unsafe for girls. Before I move on to our insights, I'd like to draw your attention to the handouts placed under your chairs. They contain important helpline numbers and resources available in the UAE for reporting harassment. We hope you find them helpful and share them with others who might need the support. With that in mind, let's take a closer look into the insights we've gathered. So based on our research, 46% of gamers worldwide are female. However, 59% of women who play online have experienced harassment. Globally, 29% of women feel unsafe while gaming, and 20% have quit online gaming altogether. In the UAE, 64% of women report facing online harassment, while in Qatar, 33% of female gamers have encountered harassment. I'll be now handing it over to Marwa.
So we conducted thorough research, trust me, lots and lots of research, on Gen Alpha boys and girls. We focused on their demographics and psychographics. Okay, so mission 1, understanding our target audience, complete. The next level was to create a persona, and so we did. Everyone meet Omar, but say hi quickly before he gets distracted. That was a joke. Okay, so Omar is a 14-year-old Gen Alpha, a tech-savvy 14-year-old gamer in Dubai. He's up to date with everything tech, and he loves anything VR. And what are his values? Omar values things like equality, sustainability, and mental health advocacy. And how is he best reached, you may ask? Well, that's through visual storytelling and very short narrative-driven videos. Thank you so much, and I'll leave you with Abdullah now.
So what we aim to achieve with this campaign is to encourage Gen Alpha males to bring the respect they show towards women in real life into their gaming environments. Although many Gen Alpha males treat their female peers with respect and empathy, online anonymity can sometimes lead to toxic interactions as well as disrespectful behaviors. We aim to bridge this gap and help Gen Alpha males acknowledge that their values of inclusivity and respect must be aligned both online and offline, creating a safer, more interactive space for everyone regardless of gender. So how will we measure our success? We'll be tracking a reduction in toxic interactions over the span of 6 months. How will we do it? We'll be using 2 methods. Firstly, we'll be tracking the feedback from women, and we'll also be using a sentiment analysis. And for our sentiment analysis, we'll be using Google Cloud Natural Language API. I'll hand you over to Rahaf.
Okay, so for our big idea and the way we decided to address this issue was coming up with the concept of breaking the barriers. Initially, we can see over time that the normality of harassment has disintegrated generation by generation. Gen Alpha, who only apply this harassment in-game, can be seen to not understand the severity of harassment in real-world scenarios, which is why we aim to shed light on this specific barrier, and therefore we aim to break the screen, or break the barrier between the screen and the real world. Thank you, Abdullah.
So as Salma mentioned earlier, and as you can see, Karim is not with us today. Yet he worked so hard since the beginning of the semester on this campaign, and he even decided to join us virtually. Yet he could not make it since his father passed away a few days ago. We would like to kindly ask you to keep his father in your prayers. فضلا وليس أمرا نرجو الدعاء لوالد كريم بالرحمة. الله يرحمه. Karim takes the floor with slogan.
Gaming is much more than just entertainment. It's a space where identities are formed. Our slogan, Change Your Game, it reflects a powerful and necessary shift in the gaming culture today. It's short, impactful, and it carries a deeper meaning than we all understand. We chose Change Your Game because it challenges how players think critically about their behaviors and values within these spaces. It's a reminder that the true measure of a great player isn't just skill. It's inclusion and respect.
We've created a digital story to particularly address this disparity that exists between real-life interactions and online interactions for Gen Alpha boys, urging them and reminding them to carry their real-life morals and values into their gaming culture. Through Hassan's journey, we will see his growth and development as he realizes the need for respect and empathy in a gaming world that is increasingly welcoming new players, young players like his sister. So, without further ado, meet Hassan.
حسن حسن يا حسن تعال ساعدني
ماما
يا حبيبي ساعدني حبيبي الله يرضى عليك شو هتعمل اليوم؟
I'll go to the basketball court with Lana, that's okay.
Yeah, sure. خلاص eat first and then go to the court, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go, boys. New target tonight.
حسن امتى انا رح العب؟
Inshallah next year when you're older. Oh my God! Stop talking. You talk so much. Just get back to the kitchen. ابلع mute.
حسن تعال حبيبي شوف اختك.
Wallah, you're so bad. Why are you playing this game? You're a girl. Just get back to the kitchen.
In our research, we found that Gen Alpha allocates most, if not all, of their entertainment time to gaming and streams. This is where we found a golden opportunity. Since Gen Alpha is at a very critical stage in their upbringing, where their attitudes and beliefs are not yet set in stone, we came up with an idea. Our idea was to place our ads in the most popular video games among Gen Alpha, which are Fortnite, Roblox, and Minecraft. By placing our ads in these games, we don't disrupt their gaming play. We get them when they're most focused, and most importantly, we have a chance at changing their attitudes on gaming permanently. Thank you. Now Anud will be covering social media.
Okay, so for our social media strategy, instead of resorting to the usual TikTok or Instagram, we actually dug deep and researched where Gen Alpha gamers spend most of their time on. And we found that the most effective platforms to place our ads on would be YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. For YouTube, we will have short, unskippable bumper ad to deliver our message effectively. For Twitch, we will have 3-second ads during gamers' live streams to encourage real-time interaction and reflection on positive gaming behavior. Lastly, for Discord, we will have a dedicated channel that fosters safe discussions on gaming culture, supported by targeted ads to drive participation. Together, we believe that these platforms will promote respect, self-awareness, and positive change, inspiring Gen Alpha to change their game. Lastly, for influencer,
We actually decided to go with a streamer on Twitch. He's Badr Al-Huraybi. He's a well-known streamer on Twitch known as Abdul HD. His content is very authentic and interactive, and his audience are highly engaged and young, from 12 to 20 years old. He's the ideal fit to raise awareness about female harassment because of his content. During his streams, he will educate his viewers about the serious issue of female harassment in gaming, as well as the consequences for females and for Gen Alpha boys. His reach and authenticity make him the perfect streamer to connect with our target audience in the UAE and Qatar, and we hope that through his streams, he will generate word of mouth and raise awareness on this important issue. Lastly, with Jana.
Hate has 4 letters, but so does love. Enemies has 7 letters, but so does friends. Negativity has 10 letters, but so does positivity. You always have a choice, so choose to change your game. And if you think that's tacky, I have a backup statement prepared, just let me know. Thank you, everyone. We've been Team Pixels.
I'll open us up with just one quick question. You say again and again and again that Gen Alpha boys are amazing to women in real life, and then they suck online. Why do they? Where's your evidence of this? Like I'm not like walking around seeing men or boys under the age of 15 being angels. What is this?
Because this is specifically talking about harassment, we observed, and obviously through research, we've seen that the normalization of harassment has lessened over the years. Because the next generation is going to be the next generation of parents, basically. And we can see that it's becoming less and less acceptable. Plus, we also found through research that Gen Alpha, they do game, but they spend also most of their time watching older gamers, which is where they get this vision of harassment's okay online and whatever, but in real life they do seem to implement it even more than older generations. Like as we can see, they're fine with having friends that are girls, the mix and match, the social life. It's far better than other generations.
I'm not convinced at all, because I see alphas listening to Andrew Tate and stuff. I feel like if someone is harassing someone online when they're anonymous, that's a reflection of their character. So I don't find it like, if I was in a boardroom working for some company, which I hope to God is never my fate, I wouldn't be convinced.
Actually, Andrew Tate's #1 target audience is Gen Z, then it's millennials. Gen Alpha, they're not even part of the research because they're too young. So you got that wrong.
So where's your research?
Okay. Fair, understandable. Thank you.
I think it's just such a great question, because it raises a really important point that you're all going to face. I think you made the comment, we've done so much research, trust me. If you're going to, there was a bit about like who had faced harassment, who hadn't. The whole concept here hinges on one thing landing home, right? Which is this point of, in real life or face-to-face, there's a growing respect for women, and in gaming, it's not reflected, right? We always talk about this. I think you have to go in with a strong point of view, because that's the only way to fly, right? A lot of companies, a lot of agencies, a lot of marketers will come in with some sort of soft in-the-middle thing where it's, difficult to disagree with, but not that powerful. There's only going to be one response to that from 3 possible responses. It's either going to be, yes, you're right, and we agree, we knew that, good. 1, you're right, and we didn't know that, that's fantastic. Or 3, you're wrong. Right? And we disagree. But I think you have to go in with that. But if you're going to do it, you absolutely have to have the evidence to back that. So I would take away that slide with the pie charts on the harassment piece, because we know that, we wrote the brief. And come in strong with your evidence. And it can be anecdotal to a degree. It can be articles from over the years. It can be research in different areas. You can build a picture with research that fits that narrative, right? But it absolutely has to convince people in the room that it works, and you didn't do that. So it means the whole thing is in jeopardy. which I just think is important feedback. I think the fact that I think it's fair for me to say, based on my comment with the first team, the fact that you are trying to tackle what I believe is the root cause is very strong. I like that you found, I think, a real tension point and you've taken a stab at it. I think that's really brave, and I think that it's a women-led cast. You've come out strong, a lot of power in the performance. I think that was really, really nice. The visual, you've got that one really clever piece with obviously the switch of the makeup. I think that's great. I think you've got your strong campaign visual. I really like that. I like that you quite emphasize it. It's worrying that so many people laughed every time there was a slur in the film. It was a bit strange for me to hear. I don't know what that says about us, but I think the narrative was quite strong. My concern is and it's the same for, it's going to be the same for everyone in every year that I've been here for the last 12 years. The quick, unskippable ads. There is an obsession, and I see it on every panel, on every conversation, every article, about no one watches content anymore, no one picks stuff up, everyone wants to skip. You're talking about a generation that watches hours, right? Hours of streams. You've got these 3 seconds, 5 seconds. I don't know what the story is. Do not obsess over trying to squeeze things into that timeline because it leaves everything open for interpretation. The first one specifically, the second one, which I think was the Twitch one, had the line about fight discrimination, which was clearer. The first one, I couldn't tell you what it was about, right? So don't stress in trying to fit the format if you can't tell the story. The story always comes first. Yeah, that's all my feedback. Congrats, good job, good job. Oh, and by the way, really nice touch on your teammate who couldn't be here. Really, really strong. So what, he's going through, really, really tough, but the fact that you still made him a part of it, and, I think that's really powerful. So he owes you one for that. Congrats.
Thank
you. Yeah, congratulations. I think I just want to make a point. It's so nice to see, Joe touched upon this in the first round, but so much support. It's really nice that everyone's shown up to support you. So congratulations. It's just nice to hear all the cheering and noise and vibe and atmosphere. I'll keep my comments quite short. I think, to Joe's point, taking a particular focus and tension is really critical. You found, and I think one of you mentioned that Gen Alpha are the next, they're not cemented in their views and their perspectives as of yet, so they're probably the most malleable. I think I would have liked to see you lean into, I think what we've been talking about, the insights there, how you came to these conclusions that, they're the most, I understand they're most impressionable, but exactly now that they're coming into this gaming space, how they're behaving and how that's changing. The one kind of question I had was you mentioned, which I think is quite smart, to put the campaign slogan within the games itself.
Yes.
But you said it's going to sort of change attitudes permanently. So my question is, how do you believe, or what was the thinking that having the slogan in-game, which is a smart way to do it, but how do you anticipate, or what was the thinking behind it actually literally changing attitudes?
So I said it might give us a chance to change them permanently. Obviously, I can't assure you or confirm that, yes, all of their attitudes will be changed and harassment stops here. But ideally, these young individuals, these young players, they can see this ad and maybe for 1 second, if we can make them think about going a different route, we would have achieved the goal of our campaign.
Yeah, other than that last comment, I think the production is really impressive. I think both first group and your group, and I'm sure third group as well. It's the quality of the production and the videos that you put together is really impressive. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Pixel. And now for Team Zelda.
Okay, I'll just use it. I'm not using it.
Let it.
Good evening, everyone. We are honored to be the final group presenting today. And like Abdullah said, they do save the best for last. Before we dive into our presentation, we want to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed faculty, family, and friends for being here and supporting us. Your presence means so much as we share the culmination of our hard work over the last semester. We also want a special thank you to Professor Suhail Dahdal for his unwavering support and guidance throughout this journey. Now, before we begin, I want to introduce our team name, Team Zelda. And I have a question. Aliazia, does the name hold any significance to our campaign?
Absolutely. Zelda, a princess in the Legend of Zelda game series, disguises herself as a male assassin to evade capture, to escape the pressures of her royal duties, and to fight alongside her companion. As the presentation unfolds, Zelda's relevance to our campaign will be revealed.
And now I have the honor of introducing you all to our team. First, we have our marketing director, Sharjah. Then we move on to our communications director, Aliazia Shamsi. Meeting our creative vision, our creative director, Hana Sabri. And our digital producer and her digital presence, Noreen Zakaria. Then we have our campaign manager, Julie Ayad. Our social media manager, Mariam Al-Ansari. Myself. Our key problem.
Our key problem is that gaming still has a woman problem. Deep-rooted gender stereotypes portray men as the dominant and skilled players, marginalizing women in the space.
Exactly. This creates a culture where many female gamers feel the need to stay anonymous to avoid exclusion, bias, or even negative attention.
I hear we have a solution though. Yes, we do. And it's as simple as a right click. What do you mean? The same way we right click to select new paths within softwares or games? Exactly. Our campaign highlights the importance of individual right decisions to defy gender norms and how they have a collective impact on society as a whole. With a right click, gamers can choose to reset or change their behavior.
This also tackles the key problem by acknowledging that social conformity and peer pressure both contribute to the exclusion of women in gaming, and this in turn reinforces the need for women to be anonymous in the gaming community.
And we don't stop there. Hannah, will you do the honor of please sharing our slogan?
Absolutely. Our slogan is reboot the social. Think about it. When something isn't working, what do?
We reboot, we reset, we start fresh.
Reboot the social is our call to action for gamers to do the same with the culture of gaming. It's time for a shift, one where everyone feels welcome and valued in the gaming community.
And it starts with each one of us making the right click to reboot the social. Now, please allow me to take you through our target persona. Meet Hassan. He's a Gen Z 20-year-old computer science student based in Dubai. He loves to game and he manages that alongside his studies and a part-time job. He enjoys competitive shooters, battle royales, and open-world adventures, mostly on PC, but sometimes he also switches to mobile gaming. Hassan values inclusive gaming communities and looks for games with cross-platform play, frequent updates, and engaging storylines.
Now, on to our objectives and KPIs.
Our campaign goals focus on confidence, safety, and participation.
That's right, Mariam. For confidence, we're helping female gamers feel proud of their place in the community. We'll track this through positive social media sentiment using tools like Brandwatch.
Exactly, Liazia. For safety, we're tackling online harassment using educational content and monitoring reports from platforms like Valorant and Twitch.
Absolutely. And for participation, we're aiming for a 20% growth in female involvement at Yalla Esports events, ensuring they feel included and valued.
Let's talk about the heart of our campaign, our digital story. It's designed to take viewers on a journey, not just through gameplay, but through a challenge to rethink teamwork, identity, and inclusivity in gaming. As a filmmaker, I'm especially excited about how this story doesn't just tell, it shows. Every moment is intentional, every decision matters, and it's the kind of story that stays with you long after it ends. But hey, no spoilers. Watch and experience it yourself.
Choose your fighter.
Player 2, ready? Three, two, one, go.
بعد كلها طلعت بنت.
بابا اسحب عليها، هي ما بتعرف تلعب.
معلش طلع من المطبخ، ارجع على المطبخ، ارجع. لا والله لعيب شو اللي لعيب يا اخوان الصغير اللي قاعد يلعب.
اكيد برو. والله ما اعرف شو لازم تسوي.
And now, let's dive into our timeline of outreach and events for this campaign.
For pre-launch, we'll build excitement by establishing a presence on Instagram and TikTok with teasers, live streams, and updates to create an interactive community. By launch, our audience will be ready to engage.
Moving on to launch, it's time to spread, educate, and engage. We're going old school with content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, platforms that we believe will fit perfectly with our target audience.
Exactly. The content we'll share will be snippets from our digital story, sparking curiosity and getting people excited to learn more about our campaign.
Influencers are a key part of this campaign. In the UAE, we have Ahmed al-Nasheed, Dalia Hamoud, and Noor Stars. In Qatar, we have Ahmed Mghassab and Qatar Esports Federation, which promotes gender equality and inclusivity through their active community engagement. Together, they give the campaign a powerful and authentic voice across the region.
Our out-of-home strategy focuses on key locations with high traffic to engage Gen Z and Zillennials. We'll use metro station ads at Nakhil and Centerpoint, featuring bold visuals that challenge commuters to rethink gaming cultures. For cinemas, we've selected Vox locations, like Mirdif City Center, Doha Festival City, and Mall of the Emirates. These will show 30-second ads before English language movies.
Imagine walking through Lusail in Doha or a university campus and seeing a giant MacBook screen with a sad Mac icon.
Why would that attract me?
Well, there's a sign that says, "Fix me and win $1 million."
Okay, you got me. I'm running. But what happens when you try and switch it on?
The screen will say, "How many times did they tell you?"
The QR code mentioned will then direct viewers to our campaign's landing page.
For community engagement, we're targeting platforms such as Reddit's niche communities like r/girlgamers and r/PC gaming to drive authentic conversations about gaming culture.
On Twitch, we'll collaborate with female streamers and host sponsored streams to highlight empowering stories and challenge stereotypes. While on Discord, we'll create branded servers to spark meaningful discussions about gender inclusivity.
These platforms ensure our campaign reaches gamers where they're most active, creating a movement to reboot social dynamics in gaming.
Are you ready for events, Julie?
Yes, I am.
Okay. For our events, we're going all out with an engaging booth activation at Middle East GamesCon and Comic-Con. We'll split the booth into two sides, one for men and one for women, with a cooperative game that requires players to work together to win.
I know it looks great, but we don't stop there. We'll have influencers actively participating in our booth, which will create a buzz both in the event and online. Plus, we'll include a QR code linking back to the campaign page and Yalla Esports socials to keep the audience engaged afterwards.
After launch, we'll focus on analyzing the impact and celebrating success. We'll send out surveys via email to gather feedback and share celebratory content with our audience.
So it's all about keeping the momentum going, right?
Absolutely. We'll share the event highlights, influencer collaborations, and user-generated content to display community involvement and inspire even more participation.
Now, the ROIs are clear. First, direct ROI. We're expecting a 20% increase in female participation in Yalla Esports events, which will open doors for new sponsorships and more engagement. Then, indirect ROI. By reducing harassment and promoting inclusivity, will improve brand perception and drive community growth. Finally, the long-term ROI. We'll see sustained growth in female participation, stronger brand loyalty, and position Yalla as a cultural leader in the gaming space.
So, what's the takeaway from all of this?
Through our campaign, we're tackling gender stereotypes in gaming, challenging outdated mindsets, and inspiring gamers to reset the culture.
Together, we can make gaming the space it was always meant to be, one where everyone belongs. Let's take the step, let's make the right click, and let's reboot the social. Thank you.
So, take the one back. I just need to take a breath. I don't even know what we just watched. That was wild. That was the wildest presentation I've ever seen in my entire life. Half good, half challenging. It was like parts of that were like a Nolan movie. I loved it. I wasn't always sure what was going on. So kudos for coming up with that approach and like going big with it. Sometimes I wanted you to slow down on the technical details. There were slides that for me were crucial to seeing if it worked, and you were like bouncing through like Disney's Playhouse. The performance was great, but I would want to come back and be like, oh, just hold on a second, okay? So you've found the line and like gone past it, and I love that. I love it. It's maybe a little too far on certain aspects. For me, the right-click thing is confusing to me. That's why. The right-click thing, I didn't quite get it. I would need you to explain that in a little more detail for me. I think we had this conversation before, didn't we? I was a little bit lost the first time. I was still a little bit lost. I think around that concept, you've done a great job. I mean, like the film is as wacky as hell. It's great. And the best part about it is such a simple thing. You have messaging on the film. Thank you. Thank you. Finally. You have messaging on the film. Right at the end, like whose idea was it just to have the text at the end that tells the message? Like that is so important. That is the film. That is the concept. Okay, so I don't think you're allowed to climb over the walls in laser tag. The old man in me was like, I think you're going to get told off. But the bit at the end where you brought it back into the room, it was very clever. It was very well done and like wildly creative. It's so good. I mean, I've seen so many agency films not nearly as good. So honestly, the film was very good, very cool. And the message at the end, just to top it off, made it a campaign movie. So really, really good. Again, on the visuals, you come in with this point about trying to increase participation by 20%. That is a wildly high, that is a huge number. That's a huge number. How do you see, visual ads in the metro station increasing gaming participation by 20%?
So we are covering, our campaign is 360 in terms of like a field marketing, whether it's visuals, digital, we want to cover all aspects. So it's not just that our like visuals in the metros or in the cinemas increasing participation, it's a complete campaign. Our digital presence as well has a really, really strong factor in increasing this level of participation, because our campaign, and I'd like to clarify right click as well, taking this chance, is to make the right choice. Right choice, very similar to the other teams, is Qudra and as well Pixels. To make the right choice is basically to choose that you can avoid being the person that creates a non-safe environment for people around you. Females or non-females, it does not matter. We want to create a safe space. So you make that right choice to make a safe space for everyone around you, for people to feel comfortable to play. So with that, and our digital story and our digital presence through different social platforms, as well as our presence in metro stations as well as cinemas, that way we're increasing participation because we're creating a safe space. We're increasing the safety and the feeling of wanting to participate for female gamers.
I think on that, you would need to have a much stronger call to action on participation. Otherwise, I would just look to like not be so strong with that type of KPI, right? Because what you've done with the visual is very, very strong. I wouldn't turn around and say this is also going to be the solution to getting you 20% more participation when not a lot of the campaign is actively asking people to do that. But it's a minor point. On the right click thing, I get the right choice is like you right click, or is it like the right click? Like it just wasn't that clear to me. I think you would need to like run that through some testing and see if it's like overcomplicated. Give me 1 second. Thanks for the touch on Zelda, by the way. That was my childhood. So it was nice to see that you were looking out for people of my generation. So thanks very much. Again, just overall, like the presentation was super fun. It was really engaging. It was a wild ride. It was a way to get remembered, particularly when you're last, and a lot of agents or clients maybe have already made up their minds. You come in with something that was really strong. I think it made up for some of the bits that were a bit tricky to follow. So marry balance, like the sort of performance with the substance of what you're trying to deliver, and it's perfect. So well done.
Thank you.
I really liked the presentation. And I had actually had a similar comment on the name, but I had a different personal approach to it. I was a little bit confused with the right-click thing as well. Right-click, I was thinking, is this alternative possibilities? Is this like a list of things that we can do? Once I got the pun, the right-click, I was sold. And I'm wondering, actually, kind of echoing this, but if you can even skip the whole right-click metaphor, PC, like, these are our tool options thing here. Once I got the pun, I really liked it. Then that actually begged another question. The name is so good for me. The name is so good. I'm getting distracted by Reboot the Social. Reboot the Social is short enough, it almost looks like a title. Can you elaborate a little bit more? Because you mentioned social dynamics and stuff. What's this Reboot the Social, and why does it deserve such space next to right-click?
Okay, so essentially, first of all, thanks for understanding the campaign name, right-click. We didn't necessarily mean like the actual right-click button. It's more symbolic of like making the right choice, which I think...
You could add the right-click, potentially.
Sure. Sure. As for the slogan, Reboot the Social is more about encouraging people to just change what's now been normalized. We explained in our key problem that the deep-rooted gender stereotypes that exist in our society are essentially the issue. When you look back at social dynamics and gender norms, there are hints that, there are signs that hint into why people act the way they act in gaming communities. So Reboot the Social essentially means just changing the social dynamic narrative and just kind of changing the narrative in general when it comes to those gender stereotypes, especially in the gaming community.
Okay, and also, yeah, the video this is the one that I feel encapsulated what you're trying to get at. I really appreciate the hard work that you put into it. And I don't teach in a business program, so I can't really advise as to like the credits you're giving for each person's role in the project. But I do teach in a media communication program, and I kind of want to see credits as to who worked on the video. Because for me, I feel like that the labor in your video, you have a lot of labor here. I mean, your pitch was very heavily coordinated and choreographed and rehearsed. Your slides are well formatted, but the video itself has a lot of work. So, you know, I'm curious to see, you know, who put work into that and what you guys contributed individually.
The idea-wise, I think it took us many trials and errors, as Professor Sahil remembers. When it comes to ideation, we all contributed. However, the technical aspects of the video and the shooting in general, we have our lovely Noreen, who can't be with us here today. Yes. As you know, she's a film minor, and she loves doing these things. So I think this was a lot of experimentation, of editing and choosing what we want. Because we had a clear vision, but making it come to life was a bit hard. But we had some help as well, and it ended up doing exactly what we wanted it to do.
Yeah, thank you. Tough to come last and have to echo a few points. Fantastic presentation. I think the dynamism between the way you presented was really engaging, and it was refreshing, especially when you've got the tough job of coming last. I think one key point which I wanted to mention was that you actually integrated and mentioned Yalla Esports into the whole campaign, which I think the other groups didn't do. So yeah, always keeping in mind, obviously, who the client is or who the brand is that you're representing. So I think actually integrating your idea and your campaign into, you know, their campus event and into their gaming ecosystem, if you will, was crucial and important. I think having the out of home and the kind of specific platforms where you're targeting probably your audience, I imagine, was a nice kind of holistic touch. What was my question? Yeah, the Comic-Con idea was interesting. I just want to hear a little bit more about it, and I'm curious, it seemed that it came as sort of like a legacy phase or like a kind of post or third phase in your campaign. I'm interested as to why you put it in that phase, and I'm interested a little bit more about the actual activation that you were running on ground and how that fits into the whole right-click, reboot the social.
Okay, thank you for your question. So our events is part of our launch. So during our launch, we wanted to be present in an event that has a lot of our target audience. And through our research, we've realized that the events that we've chosen have the highest amount of gamers that we can find in one location. So by placing our booth, which is a booth that has a female entrance and a male entrance, and they have to play together, and we were thinking a game like It Takes Two, because it does take two to get out of the game, and they win together, they speak to each other during this game, and it's also a way to create buzz by inviting our influencers to this booth, and it's very interactive for everyone to be participating and playing in our booth, and it has all of our campaign QR code and everything that can take us back to the campaign and educate everyone over there about our campaign and the concept and why it's there and the reason for that.
Just, yeah, I think the point was also how does it relate to the sort of right click? I felt like that bit was a little bit unclear, was how you have, I think it's a great opportunity to leverage the event to obviously have an activation, especially where you have a core audience there. Just how it kind of relates to the the overarching right-click reboot the social bit was what I was curious for.
So through our activation, we're rebooting the social because we have male gamers making a right click of participating with women and playing together and not creating a safe environment for them to be on one team and choose to play together to get out of the game together. So that's a right click, a right decision that they have made, and that way we're rebooting the social because we're also creating it. It's not just the two of them playing in that booth, it's the entire event watching that and witnessing people being rebooted to actually make a right choice and go with that campaign.
Thank you, congrats.
So thank you, Team Zelda, and thank you. Another round of applause for the three teams. They have done a wonderful job, and they are all winners. However, in the tradition of MCM 485, there is only one winner. So the judges will go and deliberate for 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back to you with a decision. But from now, I can say all of you are winners. Thank you. take our places, please? So can we, yeah, silence, thank you. The judges have reached a decision and I will let them announce the winners and again, you're all winners.
Again, for those of you, probably none of you know this, this is actually year 11 for us in this room. We've been with you for a very, very long time. I've only been in the region for 15 years, so most of my years have been here. So thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Every year there's a huge crowd. Even when it was the pandemic, we were here and it was closed and there were hundreds of people online. So I've never seen support for a course for students that you come out here and it's really, really inspiring. And we've taken so much good talent from here and we've seen them in the region, you know, from the year before you and the years before you and the years before you go on to do many great things. So this is a real platform, and for us to be partners in this still to this day is very, very special for us. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll keep it brief. Huge congratulations. I know so much work and time and effort goes into these presentations, both from your professors and yourselves, and it's all over in 12 minutes on a stage. But I think it's telling how much work and how much effort you've all put in. So congratulations and wishing you all the best of luck.
Without further ado, the awards. We have 4 awards to present today. The first is an individual award, and the next 3 go to the full group. Our first award is the best presenter. It goes to Abdullah Zaraouni. The best presenter وخليك قاعد ليش
Thank you so much, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be standing here with this prize. Professor Sale, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The jury felt that Abdullah's presence really helped set a great tone for his team, as well as for the overall day. And we wish there was more humor in pitches. This is from them, not me. Excellent. For the next, I'm going to have a theme song. Can we hear this? No? For the best creative element in this year's campaign presentations, Team Zelda. Any comments on the creative element?
Okay, the creative element. Yeah. We had a very clear vision. We really wanted something that is related to games. So the idea of kind of breaking the barrier and escaping the game zone and pushing to real life was something that we wanted since the beginning. So before we even had this idea, we wanted this for sure. When it comes to the graphics, our goal was to make it look as gamey as possible. We really wanted the little energy bars and the whole game vibe to be there, and this was our goal, and we didn't stop until we got it.
I just want to really thank Noreen. I know she's not here, but she definitely worked the most. She was our digital producer. She put her heart in our creative elements, so we love you, Noreen.
We love you, Noreen.
Next award. Best presentation overall. This award goes to a group for its close choreography, coordination, and delivery. Team Zelda. Tell us a little bit about this choreographed group. I mean, we were almost overwhelmed. I do have to do a little asterisk here, almost overwhelming. But you had really, really tight timing. You divided roles among the members of your team very equally and very efficiently. Tell us about how you came together to plan this and coordinate.
It looks like we actually saved the best for last, so thank you guys.
The script writing, honestly, usually in presentations, I've attended like previous year's presentations, it's very formal, it's very like one person presents to the next, and I feel like sometimes, you know, it can get someone like bored, just distracted easily. So we wanted to keep it like duo, kind of conversational. So even if someone has questions about what we're talking about, we can answer them through our conversation. So that was mainly our goal, and we wanted it to be a bit more interactive. So we're glad it accomplished that goal.
Thank you. Judges, how are we feeling? Feeling good? Okay, okay. All right, we're gonna. Oh, okay. This is.
Yeah, okay. So for the final award, the difference here is this is the best campaign. So this is far more important because this is what we as the client would buy. Okay, so beneath all the fun and the flowers and the cheers, there's an important topic, there's an important brief. And we are here today to find the team, the campaign that we think could answer that most correctly. So take away the great presenters, take away the leave behinds, take away all that stuff. What is at the heart, we think, the campaign that can solve the problem. Okay?
All right. And the award for best campaign overall goes to Team Zelda. Alrighty, thoughts?
I mean, we made it. That's all we have to say. We worked really hard, and the other teams worked hard as well. And we genuinely took so much inspiration from your presentations, and I really want to give you that. You guys worked so much, and your presentations were amazing. We were amazed, and I really want to thank my team. They're my family, and we've been through so much struggle this semester. So I'm so grateful we really overcame that, and we came out like better than we ever expected. So thank you all, and thank you for the support, and thank you.
Guys, come down, all teams. Let's take a picture.
Professor. على فكرة guys فوزنا من فوزكم والفوز واحد فكم celebrate with us يلا.
Thank you everyone for attending this event. Parents, family, everyone, thank you so much. Well done, well done. Well done, everyone.
If you're a gamer here, I saw some hands earlier, please stop telling people to go back to the kitchen, all right? You should have learned your lesson today. Make the right click.